5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. Yes, and today we're going to continue with the review of chapter 4. We started chapter 4 yesterday, and we're going to continue today. So, we're still continuing with the story of the entrepreneur who was about to commit suicide at the beginning, but then she decided to go for a conference where the spellbinder was a speaker. And when the spellbinder fell to the ground and hit his head, the entrepreneur, the artist, and the homeless man came together. They were discussing what they learned from the spellbinder and from the seminar in general. So if you missed all of that, you may want to catch up with them. Right, they continued talking, and the homeless man made a point about technology, how technology can be both a blessing and a curse depending on how you use it. And he said that a lot of people are addicted to technology, but then if technology is used intelligently, it can advance human progress. If we use it wisely, it can actually make our lives better. It can enrich our knowledge. It can make the world smaller. There is a lot to learn from technology, from social media, from the internet. That is if you use it wisely. Otherwise, the misuse of technology can ruin people's minds. It can ruin people's lives, and it has done so already. It can damage your productivity. If you become addicted, you don't know when to stop. You don't know where to draw the line. That is where the problem is. And we all know what is going on in our world today. The homeless man continued. He said, you get to grow, and ascending as a person is one of the smartest ways to spend the rest of your life. You don't want to remain stagnant as a human being, and every challenge that comes your way is a gorgeous opportunity to rise into your next level as a leader. No experience in your life is a waste. Everything that comes into your life and everything that you come across has a reason. There is a purpose for it, but we need to understand this so that we are not carried away by the pain, and we don't get bitter and frustrated. Even your enemy is teaching you a lesson, so it depends on how you take it. Obstacles are nothing more than tests designed to measure how seriously you want the rewards that your ambitious self seeks. If you want great rewards in life, then be prepared for obstacles, be prepared for challenges, be prepared for difficulty. And what about failure? Failure is just growth in wolf's clothing. If you don't want to fail, then you are not ready to succeed. These are some of the things that we want to come to terms with. If you are not ready to change yourself, you cannot change the world. If you are not ready to grow, if you are not ready to go through pain, discomfort, forget about real success, forget about making impact in the world. And he said his leader also taught him to find your best self. You must lose your weak self. Both cannot coexist. You want to be weak and you want to be your best at the same time. It is not possible. Those who rule the world are those who are strong. It is not like pain is easy. Pain is never easy on anybody. But if you know what you want, you must come to terms with this, that you really cannot get to the top by taking it easy, by being soft, by being weak, and by remaining in your comfort zone. The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. A lot of people are dead. They are just counting days to when they are going to be buried, to when their soul is going to leave their body. The moment you stop trying, the moment you stop growing, the moment you stop striving, that is the day that you die. All right. In order for you to transform your relationship with other people, transform your relationship with yourself. And it was at this point that the entrepreneur voiced out, and she said, all along, she has been hiding her feelings. She didn't want people to know the real reason why she was there. She was hiding under the guise that she was there to elevate her business, but she was actually there because she was frustrated. She was seeking hope. So she opened up for the first time. She said, my life feels so complicated. I feel so overwhelmed. I don't have any time for myself, although she has said a part of this before, but now she's opening up the more. and she's not sure what has happened to her life. Things have just become so hard for her. She's going through a terrible phase in life. Fortunately for her, the artist encouraged her that it's okay. Some days are like that. There are phases in our lives that are like that. We don't have the answers. Everything seems messy. Everything is just tough. We feel like giving up. We even feel like ending it all. And that is okay. It is part of life. It is part of your growth process. If everything is easy, then it means that you are not growing. Right. So this is the point where you need to be true to yourself. Even the homeless man weighed in. He said life is not easy. People tough slog a lot of the time. But like John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end. And if it is not okay, it is not the end. So that is a big consolation for you and I. If it is not okay, it is not the end. For as long as you're living, keep trying, because in the end, everything is going to be okay. And if you really want to climb the ladder of mastery, of leadership, you need to be strong. That place, the top, is not for the weak. Upgrade your life so that you can experience real joy. You can make real impact in life. And the homeless man said, you would agree with me that the homeless man is full of insight. He is so wise, and he refused to mention where he learned all of these things from, because the artist and the entrepreneur later asked him, where did you get all these insights from? And he said he wasn't going to tell them yet. Maybe we'll find out as we continue to read this book. He also said that one thing that he has learned is that the soreness of growth, the pain of growth, is so much less expensive than the devastating costs of regret. Because if you don't go through the growth process now, the pain, the regret is far more expensive. It is costlier than the pain of growth. So you have to choose one. He also said, he mentioned, starting his first company, how he was like the artist and the entrepreneurs. In case you don't know, the homeless man is like in his 60s. So he's a bit elderly. The entrepreneur and the artist are younger. And the homeless man said when he was starting his first company, he was like the artist and the entrepreneur. And he said the first 50 years of our lives are a lot about seeking legitimacy. We crave social approval. We want our peers to respect us. We hope our neighbors will like us. We buy all sorts of things we really don't need. We obsess about money, the money that we really don't enjoy. But as you begin to grow older, you realize that life is empty, even with all the material things that you have. And that the real essence of life is impact, making a positive mark on earth. You begin to realize that you don't need validation. You begin to realize that you're not going to live forever, that one day you are going to die. And all the material things that you are acquiring will have no meaning, will make no sense if you are not making real impact in the lives of real people. If you don't live forever in the hearts of people, your clothes, your houses, your cars are not going to remember you. They are going to be inherited as the moment you're gone. But you can choose to live forever by living in the hearts of people. That means you never die. You just transcend into glory. So be loyal to yourself. Be loyal to your values. Be loyal to the things that matter to you, and not just material things. You really want to live with gratitude. You as you grow older in life, you discover that what really matters is peace. Peace with your maker, peace with humanity, the kind of life that speaks after death, good life. And then this becomes your great gateway to immortality, because you never die. And it was at this point the entrepreneur started to think, She said that she had never felt this hopeful and energized in months. And she remembered her father. Guess what happened to her father? Her father took his own life, because what she was experiencing was what her father experienced. Her father's company was hijacked from him. He couldn't take it. He couldn't continue to push further. So he ended it all. Now she is experiencing the same thing. The company that she had worked so hard for is being hijacked from her. She's about to be sidelined. right? But in the midst of it, she was encouraged. She felt energized. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. So it is one of those things that you go through. Let us take some of the spellbinder's words. I'm going to read. Each one of you carries a quiet genius and a triumphant hero within your heart. Dismiss this as idealistic words of an elderly inspirationalist if you wish. But I'm proud to be an idealist. Our world needs most of us. Most people on the planet today don't think much of themselves. Unfortunately, they secure their identity by who they are externally. They evaluate their achievements by what they've collected versus by the character that they have cultivated. They are seeking validation. They are comparing themselves by real highlights on Instagram, by social media posts made by other people. They are not really seeing their true character, their real worth, their true values. And that is so unfortunate. We live in a world of filters, and that is where so many people get it wrong. You cannot judge your life, the impact that you're making, and the value of your life by what you see online. You need to be true to yourself and be clear every day for the rest of your life that you're going to, be faced with the chance of showing leadership. Leadership is not only for those in government, those in power, those in business that are doing so well. Leadership is for every one of us. And we have that opportunity, that chance to prove our leadership by the way we affect other people positively, by our kindness, our act of generosity, by the knowledge that we share with others, our selflessness towards humanity. So you and I are leaders in our own right. It is not about titles. It is about deeds. It is about what you do, your actions, every single day, putting a smile on other people's faces, right? Working selflessly, volunteering, saving lives. That is what true leadership is about. And this is what you will want to dedicate your entire life to be exceptional, to stand out, to be among the top 5% that are less concerned about fame, cash, and approval, and be more invested in punching above your weight class within your craft, standing out, being exceptional in your own way. All this while that they were talking, the homeless man was doing a push-up, his eyes closed, and he kept on shouting, own your morning, elevate your life, own your morning, elevate your life. This is a morning routine that he had developed over time, and he was willing to show the entrepreneur and the artist how to also cultivate this incredible morning routine. I think we'll see more of that in chapter 5. Now, let's take more of the spellbinder's words. He said anyone can become an everyday leader by showing up when it's easy and especially when it is difficult, starting today. And if you do so, a guaranteed victory is in your future. I need to add that there is not one person alive today who cannot lift their thinking, performance, vitality, prosperity, and lifetime happiness magnificently by wiring in a series of profound daily rituals and then practicing them until they become your second nature. And this brings me to the single most important principle of my talk. The greatest starting point for winning in your work and making a splendid life is joining what I call the 5 a.m. club. If you have not joined, you need to join. How can you ever be world class if you don't carve out some time each morning to make yourself world class? The morning hour is where it happens while everybody is sleeping. You need to wake up and chart the course of your day. Rising at 5 a.m. is truly the mother of all routines. So joining the 5 a.m. club is the one behavior that raises every other human being. That is the regimen for getting to the top, for becoming exceptional. You wake up fresh, ready to unleash your brilliance, your creativity, ready to be the best in your craft, not just sleeping till whenever, when the sun is out, you're just stretching. No, People who are serious are already awake. They've mapped out their day. They know what they want. That is it. It is not going to be easy. You have to force yourself out of bed. So if you don't like rising early, then start going to bed probably a bit early. That's one habit that I'm also trying to cultivate now. I like going to bed late, do my work late into the night, and then but now I have to try as much as possible to be going to bed a little bit early, because whether I like it or not, I have to wake up early. Right. And one thing you must also know is to display respect and compassion for all other people who occupy this planet Earth, regardless of their creed, their color, their background, their pockets. Lift them up in a civilization where many get energy tearing others down, where many derive pleasure shouting everywhere, "Do you know who I am? I'm going to lock you up. I'm going to teach you a lesson." Their bone is always very strong when they are harassing the poor. Don't be one of them. Help others sense the marvels that sleep within them. Help others awaken the sleeping giants in them. Be kind. Be generous. Intentionally. If God has given you power, fame, money, or popularity, they are not to be used to oppress any human being. That's not the whole essence. You are blessed to be a blessing. If you do this, you will evolve into one of those rare and great spirits who upgrade the whole world by the simple act of walking amongst us. At this point, the conference hall was now dark. The entrepreneur let out a sigh. They were tired. The artist was motionless, and the homeless man began to cry. What was making him cry? Probably was thinking about his life. And all of a sudden, he stood on a chair, raised his arms like a preacher, and boomed these words of Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw that says, "This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being a force of nature, instead of a feverish little cloud of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations." At this point, the homeless man fell to his knees, kissed his holy beads, and continued to weep. Yoruba people will say, "Akika." Do you understand that? Akika. All right. This is the end of chapter 4. Very profound. Very, very profound. Why is the homeless man weeping? We're going to find out as we continue chapter 5 on Monday. Thank you so much for joining me on today's review. Don't forget to like this video, share your comments with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady, and on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. Come together again on Monday by God's grace as we review chapter 5. Until then, be intentional. Bye. Enjoy your weekend. You're welcome.